Hi everybody, it's Kate Luella here. How are you going? I'm very excited to play this interview I did with Tyrone Shum. Tyrone's quite a young online entrepreneur and he's very innovative. He's a hard worker, he's multidimensional, and I love the way he will share his knowledge, his facts, everything about him is truly wonderful to learn from because he's so open and honest about everything. Now, we talk about a lot of things, so we're going to get into that in a minute. As an outline, he talks about the values of end goals, whether you're a blogger or a podcaster. He talks about his experiences with Feedburner and how he uses a plugin that changed his blog to a podcast with one button, and that way he didn't have to actually install Powerpress. There are limitations with that, of course, but at the end of the day, it's another opportunity for you to learn about from a blogger who does it that way, so you know it works. We also talk about live streaming and the advantages of that through your podcasting. He talks about his subscribers and how he's very keen to get his list built and why he would value that over his YouTube channel subscribers. He also talks about little things like why he doesn't promote his social media buttons and things on his websites and blogs. As I said before, he's a multi-dimensional guy. And we first talked about why he changed his game plan recently from promoting his outsourcing live blog and podcast to his current one, which is the 5-minute marketing YouTube video channel, which he runs with his mate Justin, which I'm a little bit jealous of. I wish I ran my business with a mate. But at the end of the day, he talks about the benefits of that and the fun they have and what he's doing there, what he's got coming up. And he also is talking about his game plan with his 5-minute video YouTube channel where they do interactive workshops and how that really gets great interaction. Now, before we get started, I'll just warn you, when I went to do this interview, I forgot to push record. Okay, is that devastating or what? And it was funny, I was talking to Dave Jackson about this yesterday and he said, always make sure there's 2 devices recording at once in case one doesn't. And I hadn't been doing that. Lucky for me though, young Tyrone had pushed record. So it was right near the end of the interview and I was so red in the face, I can't tell you. So thankfully, I was dealing with a professional here and he pushed record and he very kindly just sent that MP3 straight over to me so I could edit it. I do apologise for the voice is a little bit out of sync. I'm a little bit louder. I sort of am in real life too, which is a bit embarrassing. But yeah, I'm a little bit louder in the voice because I couldn't split the audio up to edit it. I've bought a new product to do that now, Powerpress, $35, which allows you to edit your audio separately for these sort of things. So in future, I'm hoping it won't be a problem. So bear with us because what he talks about is sensational and of great value. And essentially, the first question I asked, which you do miss because he pushed record after I'd asked the question, such a slacker, isn't he? Maybe he didn't want to record it. I'd asked him to explain why he changed his game plan recently from outsourcing live to the 5-minute video marketing channel. And that's where we start off with him answering that question. So here we go. And I hope to see you guys at katesforum.com anytime with questions, comments or feedback. And of course, don't forget to go visit Tyrone, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Awesome value and content. You know, he's a leader by example. Let's get started. Thanks.
That's cool. All right. Well, to answer your question there, yeah, it was a big change, and because I went away for 3 months for a holiday, and yeah, I had a lot of reflection time. I managed to read 12 books in those 3 months.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I got through a lot of books, particularly Steve Jobs' one. That was amazing. His biography written by Isaac Walter. Isaac Walterson. However pronounce his name. And it kind of got me thinking a lot more about where the future was heading. And yes, outsourcing was doing well, and I'm getting a lot of people asking me questions, and you know, people want to learn about this. But the biggest problem I found with people outsourcing was that they didn't want to actually spend the time learning all that. They just wanted to outsource. So I was not the provider to actually provide a service to do that, and I had no intention to go over to the Philippines to set that up. So I basically decided, okay, the course was probably good enough, let it run on passively, which had been just selling by itself, but it wasn't going to be my main focus because I was a lot more passionate about video. Because as you've seen, I've been doing video for quite a while since my first personal branding and then also to outsourcing live. And it kind of got me thinking, I'm actually generating a lot of traffic. I'm getting a lot of views from my YouTube channel. And people were actually asking me more about how do I create videos and then how did I get it to where its quality is. And majority of that is actually systems in place and also outsourcing. So it kind of led me to think, okay, how can I show people to do it quickly and how I implement my systems and share that information? And that's where it started with 5-minute video marketing. But also too, there were a lot of things that are happening in the background that people don't know about. And I was pretty much working with a numerous amount of corporate clients that we were helping with, setting up videos for them and getting them converting, making sales on their landing pages and just doing all that kind of stuff. So it made more sense for me to just stick with video. That's why I went into it.
And so you hooked up with this guy, Justin. So is he an old friend, or is he just someone you've met online as a result of your journey? Or
no, we met at Hillsong Men's Conference 2 years back. We're both Christians, devoted Christians, and we go to Hillsong. He was on a bit of a, I guess, in between stage. He was living in London for 2 years, and he just flew back at that period of time when I first met him at the men's conference. And interestingly enough, he was telling me all about his story and what he wanted to do. And he said, I'd love to learn from you. I said, yeah, cool. I'm more than happy. So he went back to London, and we kept in contact via then. And he met a lot of video marketers over in London as well. And then about 6 to 9 months later, he came back again to Sydney, and we started to just have a chit chat. And it was interesting because I think he was convinced by family, friends, and everyone to stay back here because he's originally a Sydney boy, like I am. Right. And
we won't hold that against you. That's okay.
No. Well, actually, I should ask, where are you from at the moment?
I'm in Melbourne.
Ah, okay.
So that's why you hooked up with him. Look, and I get that because when I'm starting out, like what I'm doing at the moment, although I've been online blogging for a few years now and stuff. It's lonely.
It is.
It'd be cool to have someone to do stuff with. Just it must have opened so many more, I guess, fun opportunities because it's so boring when you're on your own.
To actually open it up to work with Justin, because I, as you know, I've been a solo entrepreneur for a while. But when we brought both our skill sets together and also the kind of clientele that we work with, it actually complements really well because I'm super focused on certain things, and then where he's got the dreams, and you kind of mix those two together, and you can get a mix match of the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. I totally get it because you'd bounce off each other too, and you can delegate things that you don't want to do so much, and he does. And I get it. So we'll move on, but I really want to focus on podcasting because this is the kind of impetus of my course that I'm creating at the moment is to inspire bloggers to do more podcasting. And I'm just looking at it from your point of view because predominantly I would have thought you did video, but originally you did a lot of audio. It's almost like you had two channels going at once, two podcasts, sorry.
Yep.
So my first question for you is, and I'm dying to know this, how do you do your hosting?
Oh, okay. It's all through Libsyn. We started originally from Amazon, but after a while, when I was getting thousands and thousands of downloads, it cost me a lot of money. At one month, I had a bill it was about $1,000. I was like, whoa, where the heck did that come from? Then I checked and I realized it was my podcast. So I was like, oh no, I better find a better hosting server. So I found Libsyn, and Libsyn is amazing because I can have unlimited downloads. So I get easily over 10,000 downloads a month just for my podcast. And because of that, I can literally just host all these files there for roughly about $20-$30 a month or so. And, anyone can come in.
And that's all of them. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, all of them. So I've got, as you can see, all of them are all there. You can download at any time and
Okay, but this is my next question because when you go into them, I don't know if you'll know how to answer this. So when I go into iTunes, and I mean iTunes, not the internet. So when you actually got the software iTunes and you go into a podcast show, let's say we're going to Outsource Live. Yep. If you go and push the play button, it doesn't download it, does it? It streams it.
Yes, that's right.
So but some of them allow you to actually download it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, do you know why that's different, or do you not know that?
I'll tell you why. I actually came across this issue just recently because when I submitted 5-minute video marketing for submission for this podcast to iTunes, they wouldn't let me submit it because apparently it couldn't read to see it was a streaming format. But Libsyn is compatible for that. So because iTunes has recently changed that format, it actually forces people to set up on a server their podcast to stream. That's why you can press play and immediately listen to it rather than download it. That's the difference. So it's mostly targeted for the new podcasters and also anybody who's creating new podcasts right now. You'll definitely be allowed, iTunes lets you stream it basically.
So you prefer the streaming?
Yeah, well, actually, people don't have to wait. Like, say, for example, your audio is going for, I don't know, 50 megs or something. That might be maybe 2 hours worth of that. You're not going to sit there and wait for 2 hours worth of, or not 2 hours, 2 hours worth, but 50 megs takes about, I'd say, 10 minutes to download or so, depending on how fast your speed is. Some people...
But you're talking about video, aren't you?
Video as well. I'm talking about video.
Okay.
Like some videos, I can have about 100 megs worth of data. Some people just can't be bothered to wait. So it in order for it to stream like that, it allows them to be able to watch it while downloading at the same time. And that's a great way to capture your audience.
Yeah, see, the disadvantage I find is you can't pause it. So if I push stop, it kicks it back to the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a real problem on a PC. It wouldn't be to a mobile person because they wouldn't be stopping and starting if they're in the car or whatever. But if you're on a PC and you think, oh, hang on, the phone's ringing, and you push stop, that's it. That I find annoying. But I just wondered why. So that explains it.
I mean,
it's basically to do with iTunes and your format.
Yeah, best
and
thing
you
to
don't
do
really
is
have a say in it.
Host it on Libsyn, embed the link on my 5-minute video marketing, and then I push it through Feedburner, which Feedburner puts it into the correct format for me automatically. It puts all the right titles, the tags, descriptions, etc., etc., and that's how I share it.
But see, you've already got it on Feedburner, so basically you just put it into Libsyn and that's it. You would have only put it into Feedburner once, your RSS, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're really just putting into Libsyn and uploading it, and that's it. It'll automatically tell Feedburner, hey, there's a new podcast ready, and it goes off to iTunes or wherever.
Or you've got to post onto your blog first before you can syndicate it out. So basically, upload to Libsyn, then afterwards copy that link that you've uploaded onto Libsyn, and then paste it onto your blog post there, and then your blog post will automatically detect that it's an audio file or a video file, etc. I've got just one. I'll tell you how the trick to it. Okay, got to install this little plugin. I'll just find it for you. It's called Feedburner Feedsmith, I think, or Feedsmith Feedburner. Just loading mine up right now to check.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Feedburner Feedsmith Extend. Yep. That's the name of the plugin. Right. Once you install that plugin into your WordPress blog, then what you do is just follow the instructions to enter in your current Feedburner address.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So let's just give you an example. Say, for example, my feed is 5minutevideomarketing.com/feed. And if you go to that feed, it will actually automatically redirect it straight to Feedburner for you automatically. And therefore, anything that you have in your feed, whether it be audio, video, or just text, the podcast that you submit or this feed that you submit to, say, iTunes, it will automatically calculate and work out which one that they want to submit and syndicate through to iTunes. So
so they're looking for the media files.
Exactly. So therefore, you could actually just have one very, very long feed with both the mixture of your blog posts, your iTunes podcasts, and also videos, and it will only take out the media files and put it through iTunes. It won't syndicate your blog posts in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So because what I'm thinking is if I've got a blogger who already has a blog and they've got to go, I want to do a podcast now, I want to start one. So they've already got Feedburner set up for their blog.
Yeah, that's all they do is submit their own Feedburner. Oh, they can either use that plugin I just suggested.
Yep,
and then
the Feedsmith,
Yep, and then just simply submit their blogname.com/feed to iTunes and it'll work. You don't need to submit the Feedburner feed.
Gotcha.
If you ever need to change the feed name or do whatever you want to do with it, you don't have to go back to iTunes and resubmit. You can actually just change that inside Feedburner and it'll work.
Yeah, I was talking to Dave Jackson about Feedburner, and he sort of tries to avoid using it now. You know, he's not keen on it. But this is the thing. Everybody's got a different way of doing stuff. I understand that.
Well, I mean, a majority of the top bloggers use Feedburner because it just translates and converts all the right information into an easy format. So that way, for whatever it does on the web. And Feedburner is owned by Google. So therefore, I'm sure that they've got the best interest to make sure that everybody's feed gets out to the right places. I find it very simple. Just 2 steps. Install Feedburner, Feedsmith, Extend. Copy your Feedburner link in there and then just simply submit your own feed straight to iTunes and you're done. That's all I've been doing. And it works. You know, I'm getting traffic from it. And at the end of the day, you just want people to be downloading your podcast and listening and then constantly coming back to your site to subscribe.
Yeah. So 2 things now, moving on. There's also 2 issues, return on investment and how to gauge your analytics. So what have you got in place for your analytics? And then we'll talk about how you can, if ever, gauge your return on investment.
Sure. Well, I mean, okay, the analytics is directly from Lubricated Sin, which is Libsyn. That's the reason why I actually switched over, because before when I was using Amazon, the analytics weren't very accurate. All I could see was the cost that I'm spending, some of the downloads, and then basically I was like, okay, I can't tell where people are coming from, etc., etc. So I was really happy when I switched over to Libsyn because there's a little statistics analytics report that you can just click on, and it just tells you, separate it into your separate podcasts. Because I've got both Outsourcing Live and 5-Minute Video Marketing podcasts running at the same time. It just goes out there, and I just look at the stats and see, okay, which potential podcast or which podcast is actually very popular. That way I can sort of monitor what's going on, and then I can also see where the demographics are, how this previous month compared to this month, etc., etc. So,
yeah, do you use Feedburner? You wouldn't even look at Feedburner stats then?
Well, in my opinion, Feedburner stats are a little bit inaccurate because, say, for example, I might get, I don't know, 3,000 downloads for the month, and then when I look at the Feedburner, it shows that I only have like 10 subscribers. So I'm like, how does that work? It doesn't seem to, in my opinion, Feedburner isn't very accurate because I don't know if it actually captures the subscribers that you have on iTunes and knows whether or not they're the ones subscribing. In my opinion, I'm not really that interested in knowing how many subscribers I have because I can't have any control over that at this point in time. If I had an email list and I can control when I'm sending it out and so forth, then that'd be great. But in my opinion, I'm not even focused on looking at how many subscribers I have on Feedburner or whatnot. What I look at is the amount of downloads, which is the most important because these are actually people who are coming to subscribe, download, and listen to my podcast. And the more people are downloading on a monthly, weekly basis, the more traction I'm getting from iTunes.
Yeah, the more value. Do you list it on other podcatchers or just iTunes?
No, I don't even know what other podcast networks out there.
Like Zune and Podcast Alley, and
no, I haven't.
They're just places that will host a podcast.
Okay, no, I haven't even explored those. I've just
No, look, a lot of people don't get me wrong. They're just going with the iTunes, the gorilla in the room, I call it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, actually, in actual fact, when you think about it, it's like YouTube. Most people put their videos on YouTube because it's pretty much the third or second largest search engine in the world. Same as iTunes, it's probably one of the largest ones that's searched in the world for podcasts. So I just go out to the biggest marketplace and just focus there because if you spend too much time on the smaller networks, you may not get a return on investment. And yeah, you may get a few extra views, but is it really worth your time when you've already got a big fish just to go out to fry?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just thinking now of return on investment. So with iTunes, do you have any way of gauging your return on investment? Do you use, I don't know, discounts for promotions and then it was driven from that podcast? Or
to be honest, no. I haven't ever promoted through my iTunes podcast, to be honest. I've thought about doing it, but the way I do it is I actually get people to convert over to subscribe to my email list because that's where I have more control. So do you notice that spike then? If you have a podcast and you say, hey, go, do you notice them going and you can actually then gauge that is working? Yeah, well, I mean, one of the examples which I saw in your video that you wrote about was the reviews. When I asked people to leave a review and I gave them the exact link, people actually left a review and watched the video on how to do it as well. So that does work. People are actually taking action to do it. And same thing with subscriptions. When you say to them, go to this link to subscribe to, 5-minute video marketing, they do that. And we can see a spike as well.
Yeah. I mean, Marie Folio, who you'd know because she's a big YouTube lady marketer, and she always says at the end, make sure you tweet it, make sure you like me, I find it annoying, but it's obviously effective. She's putting it out there all the time. Do this, and then I guess
you have to give people call to action because people just don't know what to do.
Well, it's almost as if you don't ask them, it's almost not going to happen. It's like you've got to have that call to action. At the moment I saw like 4 podcasts up, but as I said, only 2 of them were current. So the other 2, are they still on your Libsyn account? So when you go into your Libsyn account, you actually see 4 there? Is that right?
No. Well, okay. What I've done is I've consolidated into 2 accounts. That's the reason why there's 2 active ones. One's Outsourcing Live and one's 5-minute video marketing. Essentially, yes, all the podcasts that are actually sitting there are in the same account. Just basically, I've just set up a separate feed for those. As I've explained to you, all I've done is I've just created a different feed using the same. Same Feedburner. Just create a separate feed, and then I just basically send that feed through to iTunes, and that's the reason why you see 4 different podcasts, even 5 actually. I'm looking at it now. I didn't realize that my bonus deal one is actually a test one, so that shouldn't even be up. But when you submit it, you can't delete it. So
Oh, so you can't delete podcasts
Well,
once you put them up?
you can, but I mean, like, it's just too much work. They're required to do all this paperwork to do. So I just thought, oh, stuff it, just leave it there.
Why
But
would they do all that? Why would they make it so hard?
I don't know. I
It's
don't know.
weird, isn't
Yeah.
it? But well, I must admit, sometimes you go into a podcast and it might say it was made in 2007, and then you go to play and it doesn't even play anyway. So there's a
Yeah.
situation where they've dropped off their hosting, but
Exactly.
iTunes has just kept it there.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. I mean, that My Bonus Deal podcast was actually a testing because I was creating a podcast. The course was actually called a podcast traffic course because I was showing people how I managed to get about, I think it was about 60 or 70,000 views within 6 months of downloads.
Right.
I mean, yeah, so that was my test channel and I didn't expect anyone to find it. Obviously, if they type my name, it's there. So I may
Yeah.
actually update it and
Well,
change
that's how I
something.
found it. Yeah, yeah. I understand you're not drawing attention to it, but it's there.
Yeah, I know.
Won't go away.
It's all
Like the
good.
bad smell in the room.
Yeah.
But no, that's fine. So the one thing I want to ask you then about this, and then we'll move on, is you've got these 4 feeds, as you say, and 2 of them you're contributing to currently. Now the other ones, they've got like one of them's got nearly 100 shows. I don't know if you realise it's quite
Yeah,
big.
that's
So
that's my personal
is
one.
there any reason you stopped? You just stopped that because you stopped it? You didn't stop it because it was getting too big, or because Dave was saying that once your feed gets too big, they'll actually start dropping off your old episodes because the feed just won't allow you to have that many
Yeah.
showing.
Dave,
That wasn't the
yeah.
reason, was it? Or
No, that wasn't the reason. But Dave is
no?
right. I had that main issue as well too. My feed wasn't going through properly because the file was just getting too big. But the reason why that podcast stopped in terms of specifically doing those big interviews was because I was focused on outsourcing for a while, and then now I'm still feeding stuff through there from 5-minute video marketing, and that's where my main focus is. And the reason why I haven't actually taken that off, or I've been just continually submitting new content there, because you'll see that there is new content every week as well, is because there is a subscriber base there. So I wanted to utilize that and still send them content, because I know they are downloading from here because I can see from my stats.
You can see on your stats, right? Yeah, because that was the other thing I thought, because you're putting the same video on both podcasts. And I thought, I bet you he's trying to keep those subscribers alive because they're there.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's the main reason why. I mean, you don't...
absolutely, because it must be hard to say to people, now, please just ignore this and go subscribe somewhere else. You're running the risk that they won't do that.
Of course. It's like
yeah.
if you start a brand new list and you say to people, come and subscribe here, there's a high chance that none of them will, or not many of them will come over. That's why you've just got to keep that podcast going. So I just basically put stuff in there and they still enjoy it. So... Yeah.
No, I get that. And then I'm thinking when that catalogue that's the older one that gets too big and the old episodes start to drop off, I guess that's when you could stop it. I don't know. I suppose you can't.
No, you leave it there, because the great thing about iTunes and the great thing about having lip sync is you can leave those podcasts there forever. 10 years down the track, people will still be able to download them. They won't drop off unless you cancel your subscription to lip sync. I've kept my lip sync
or
running.
unless it gets too big a file. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, yeah.
Remember you said yours was getting too big? So that's the other thing. I'm thinking, what are you going to do when this one hits so big that you can't contribute anymore? All those subscribers you've built up, I guess you have to move them somewhere, or you're going to just lose your old shows. I guess that's the bottom line, isn't it?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if people want to find out about the old shows, then what you do is you say to them in the podcast, come over to the blog, and you can listen to all my shows there. It's all on the blog. Right. You can't miss them.
I'll just change the topic for a minute. I noticed that you put on your podcast an interview where Yarrow Starrick interviewed you.
Yes, that's right.
So, I mean, isn't that... So he actually approached you to do that. Is that right? And then you just both got the media file.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, that's networking 101, isn't it, really?
Yes, it's
both getting the advantage of each other there.
Yeah, I mean, I personally met him at a conference anyway, so that's why it was good to have that connection.
Yeah, and suit. You said the suit. The suit walked up to me. Not used to that in the internet world.
Well, he was dressed up as well, so, we got...
Oh, okay. It was a special day for him. No, he's very laid back. I like his style. I haven't yet spoken or dealt with him. I just want to talk about 5-minute marketing video. I've noticed there you've got 400 subscribers, 12,000 views, and that's really since March. So, I mean, that's pretty fantastic.
Actually, realistically, it hasn't been. As I said to you, I've been away for 3 months. The channel actually didn't start. I signed it up. I made sure I got the channel signed up so that way no one else takes it. I signed up in March. I went away in May, and I got back in August. And in August, we officially or officially started it. So it's been a month and a bit. Or honestly,
so really, you're saying in a month or 2 months you've got 400 subscribers.
Yeah, very, very fortunate to have that. And I guess it was about, from memory, it was about the 23rd of July when I said to Justin, let's just launch it and just get it out there. So I got the first video, which was the one all about which is the best camera for YouTube to use, video camera to use for YouTube, and that one's got over 2,000 views already. So that was the start of everything that we got done. Yeah, so it was very, very good.
So I want to look. I'm one of those people that my mind wanders. I don't know if you know women like me, and we just got so much on our mind we get scattered. So when I think of something, I've got to jump in. So I'll probably forget now. No. When you did your strategy, when you started this up, was there any way you promoted this to get the ball rolling, or did you just create the video, put it up online? I mean, were you promoting it to your lists, or what was happening there to get some activity on YouTube?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I already have a list there, so of course I was promoting to my list. Yeah, so my list, my podcast, my contacts, all that kind of stuff. I still have yet to actually approach any JVs. I haven't had... I mean, I need to, but I won't yet because I'm actually working on another project within 5-minute video marketing right now. So once that's done, then I'll be approaching all my JV partners and let them know. But the whole idea behind this particular project right now is just to get as much engagement first, because we're trying to build up a community here. And obviously we've been doing that really well. Our YouTube marketing challenge, we've got easily over... I think about 16 or 17 now challengers who's actually actively participating and trying to build up their channels too. So the goal for them really, and we're teaching them to do this, to get 500,000 views in half a year. And it's been a lot of fun. It's helping everyone out, and they're helping us, etc., etc. And we're providing as much of our knowledge that we know, and we want to be able to help people. And then from here, this kind of strategy of content marketing on YouTube is helping us to obviously get more traffic to our site. And then from there, we're obviously showing them and selling our services there, or offering our services there, which is video production.
Look, I know your services. I had a really good look because you can tell by my video view that I'm pretty sneaky. And
it's okay.
I'm one of those people that go, how are they making money? What are they doing? Where is this going? So, and of course, I've got a bit of a more grasp now. You've got your Udemy course, which is obviously huge and very popular, which is really about outsourcing, isn't it? It wasn't videos.
No, it was all about outsourcing, where to find the right virtual assistants, how to find them, how to put the systems together. It's very much a systemized course where you can just take it away and implement it yourself.
Gotcha. So it's teaching them how to do it. Okay.
Udemy approached me and said, Tyrone, you've got a really good outsourcing course. We're missing something in the market for Udemy. And said, all right, well, I'm happy to offer it. And then they did a massive promotion for me for that. And that was really successful.
Oh my gosh. So basically with Udemy, they could go to your site and get that much cheaper.
No. Well, I mean, at the moment they are selling at the full price. But when we first did the initial, it was reduced down to about, I think, $97 for the whole course from $500. Right. So that's obviously, because that's what Udemy sells. It's like a Groupon kind of deal.
Gotcha.
So that's how it all works.
Well, it's also good, I guess, to get a few sales under your belt to give confidence to future buyers, and then all that sort of thing. So
I mean, I already previously, like over the last couple of years or so, I've already had a few hundred subscribers and members in my mass outsource course. So it is already well established in the market as it is, and then Udemy just added an extra few more subscribers to my list there, so it was good. Not complaining.
No, of course not.
So that course and that stuff just pretty much is passive. It just runs itself. As you know, I said I've got a lot of clients that I work with very, very closely, like major big corporate clients, and that's where a bulk of where I make most of my income from. Right. And then obviously 5-minute video marketing is the stuff that I'm really passionate about, and it leads us over to our client work there.
So look, I'll just want to ask you one other thing about podcasting. Do you notice because do you watch your downloads every week? Are you one of those people that really, I know like James Franco, he said that he watches this like a Bible, he doesn't take his eyes off his stats, because that way he knows what's working.
Exactly. He's got a dashboard. He's got everything that's set up so that it comes all into one feed. And that's great. He can do that. In my opinion, yes, I do need to check stats, and I do check it at least once a week and see what's going on. At the moment, because it is early stage, I am checking it at least a few more times than once a week right now, because I'm working out the conversions to see where it's going and seeing if things are working. And right now it is, so that's why I'm constantly just making sure that things are working properly. Besides that, check our list and make sure that we're getting subscribers coming through, checking our increase of views and stuff like that. Yeah, it's.
Do you notice a spike after a certain type of show? So a certain type of video, maybe, is it like your challenges that suddenly there are more views, or are you noticing trends, or it's all sort of the same gradually? It's just,
Oh no, there are spikes,
Right.
definitely spikes.
Okay. So can you share with me what some of them are?
No, that's fine.
As in, what you're doing that makes it get better.
Well, it's actually interesting. It really depends on the title. Like, I'll give you firstly an example that hasn't worked, and then I'll give you an example that has worked. Okay. Yeah, so I'm looking at my 5-minute video marketing, and I was a little bit disappointed because this Nikon D7000 for video, which is basically a question that was asked by one of our subscribers, said, I've got a Nikon, I'm a Nikon fan, I don't use the Canon, can you do a video and show me how that works? So I did that video, and we put it up there, and out of all the videos that we put up there, that one has been the worst performing one, unfortunately. I don't know why, but I think people are not that keen about Nikon, and I am absolutely dead set not keen on Nikon myself, but I thought I'd do it just for a subscriber because he asked. So it's
and you thought there was a need for it.
Yeah, I thought there was a need for it because they asked. I usually try to ask the customers what they want. They tell me, and I go and create something for them. So that hasn't been the performing one, and even when I promote to the list, not many people even checked it out. So it goes to show that Nikon is not a good camera to buy. Sorry for
but
the
it's
people
a specific model. So, I guess if someone hasn't got that camera, why would they want to watch the review of it?
Well, it is a specific model, but I guess what we're trying to do is to show people that Nikons also can work for video. But I've given my biased opinion in it, and I still wouldn't go to buy a Nikon anyway to record videos because the quality is not there compared to the Canon. So that wasn't a good video. Interestingly enough, it didn't get very many views. But then there's another video that I did, which was basically how to make a good video, a good YouTube video. Actually, I didn't make that. Justin and I worked on it together, creating the script, and then he actually was the one in front of the camera. That one got a massive spike within the first probably day or two because people were wondering, when you say how to make a good YouTube video, what is incorporating into it, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of asking a question. So people click on it, look at it, and go, oh, this is what you got to do to make the videos good, stand out so it captures people's attention. And that seems to be doing really well. And that one's had a pretty big spike as well for podcasting as soon as we loaded it up. So, I mean, it depends on your title, what people are looking for, and also making sure that it is engaging as well. And that particular video was very, very engaging with the audience.
Yeah, so the relevance of it, I think that's relevant to who your audience is, because it's all about, they really are in your network there because they want to know what 5-minute video, they want to get into that clicky sort of popularity thing, really. It's a popularity thing on YouTube. But so that brings me on to the one last thing I wanted to cover is with your podcast. Now, when I go to your website or your blog, I don't know if you call it which one, at the moment, 5-minute video marketing, it doesn't mention podcasts.
Oh,
anywhere.
no, of course.
So I'm just assuming you're using that as a one-way traffic thing, which is where they can find you on on iTunes, and it drives them to your YouTube channel, which is your desired outcome. In other words, you don't want them to find you and head off to podcast to iTunes. You want to get them to YouTube. Is that right? Or
okay. This is what I've worked on this for quite some time. Is we've developed the website to be all-in-one. So it actually has an all-in-one for YouTube, all-in-one for podcasting, all-in-one for social media. So if you do land back onto the page to watch the video, you will actually see what's on iTunes as well. And also too, you'll see the actual link there to say you can watch it on iTunes, etc., and listen to it on iTunes. So it's not heavily in your face on the front page because you'll probably notice that on my site, I don't even have Facebook links, I don't have Google links, I don't have YouTube links. I don't have any of the social media buttons there, actually. I intentionally removed all that because I don't want them to be distracted. The whole goal for this particular website is to actually convert them into subscribers. The first thing you'll see is our opt-in page or opt-in box at the top, and it's just a video of us saying, subscribe here to blah, 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 and download our quick start guide. And it's actually got a little bit of a play on thing. You just got to watch it to see what I mean.
I have watched it. Does that convert well, that pop-up box?
Yes, it does. So that's the reason why I've intentionally kept them away from Facebook, iTunes,
Sure.
any of those, and I just want them to focusly say, okay, I want to give you my details so I can keep up to date with you. And through there, from that conversion of those people on the list, I can actually contact them personally at any time I want. And if they want to stay on the list to follow me as a subscriber, great. If they don't want to, then that's fine. It's kind of good that way because then it's very, very targeted and focused. Whereas, unfortunately, we say, for example, Facebook, Google, plus YouTube, iTunes, I've actually got absolutely no control when I speak to these subscribers and how I contact them. So, yeah, if you can imagine why it's so important to actually have your own list of email subscribers, there's a strong opportunity where you can actually promote things in the back end and offer services and products to them a lot faster and quicker.
Of course. So I just want to ask one final thing then. So if you had the choice between getting them to subscribe to your YouTube channel or your list on your blog or website, I'm not sure what you call it, which one would you want?
Oh, of course, the list, for
The
sure.
list, right.
Yeah, of course,
exactly.
on my
Look,
email list.
I understand that 100%, but because you can imagine a lot of bloggers, they don't even have sign-in boxes. They don't even keep lists. They've got their Feedburner sign up because that's how we were educated back in the day, that you just had to have Feedburner and that was it. So it's really tough trying to convince some bloggers you need to have you need to have your list. I guess some of them think it's all about money and then they go, oh, but I don't blog for money. And you go, well, it's more than that. It's about opportunities and you might want money in the future. And if you've got a list, but
I think the biggest mistakes that bloggers start off with is that they think, okay, let's just create content and then see where it goes. They actually don't have a goal or to set up the right mindset in mind. And the reason why I say that is because I've seen it happen before. Even I fell into that trap. What I've learned is that before you actually start any type of blogging, any type of YouTube channel, any type of marketing online or any website, is you have to think to yourself, okay, what is the end goal in mind? Are you looking to sell a product? Are you looking to sell a service? Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to do it for self-promotion? It's like, you open a retail store, and if you open the retail store and you've got nothing there to sell, no one's going to come and buy anything from you. Then therefore, you're really draining cash out of your store, and you're paying rent and so forth, and you're going to die very, very quickly in terms of that. And it's the same concept. Unfortunately, people don't see that with a website or a blog. They just think, okay, I'm just going to put lots of content out there and hopefully people will come to my site. But if you're not offering any services or products or anything like that, you're not going to make money and you're probably not going to survive with blogging unless you're doing it just for fun. If you're out there just writing a blog for your own interests and sharing, then that's fine. But if you're here to actually try and make something out of it, which is either to make money from selling your products and services or offering something on your blog or through advertising, then you really, really need to start thinking about that before you even start.
Yeah, and I guess, though, a lot of bloggers start out typically, like even when I did years ago, it's like it was never about money. It was just about having a blog and blogging whatever I wanted to blog about. And the trouble with this strategy, because I know a lot of bloggers are going to throw this at me and go, oh, but it's not really about the money at the moment. But in reality, their life changes and money can become a problem. But if you haven't geared your site or your blog towards the opportunity to convert it to easily, which might be because you've got a large subscription list, then you've got to start from scratch there. And it's such a shame because if you've been blogging for 3 years, to have to start right from that third year,
that's painful.
building a list there when you could have, and I guess it's a tricky one because, especially as you know, Tyrone, women are very, headstrong about things. And if it's not about money, it's not about money. But of course, things change. And I've noticed a lot of bloggers drop off because they go, well, my priorities are that I don't have time to blog. But if it was making them $1,000 a week, they would blog.
Oh, of
it's
course.
just because they haven't set it up to monetize it. They put in the content to get that sale, but they haven't put in the structure to capture the leads to convert or whatever. And I guess a lot of bloggers are now realizing that. And I think there is more education now for bloggers, whereas when I started, there really wasn't that kind of education around. And
blogging
we didn't
was
get
new.
that. Because if someone had said to me 3 years ago, start a list, I would have gone, okay. I wouldn't have thought twice. I would have just done what I was told. I wouldn't have thought about it. And at the minute, the only way for me to get some of my email lists is to go through Feedburner and export them that way,
Wow, is it that?
But of course, they're not captured on the basis of networking to them. So, it's almost redundant in a way. So that was part of the inspiration for this course, is to sort of say to bloggers, hey, you don't have to give it up. It won't be hard to turn it around, but you need to put into place some basic marketing strategies. And I think podcasting is a great way to go for lead generation. And so you're basically, can I assume that you're using that podcast for 5-minute marketing really to drive people from iTunes to your blog?
Of course, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, I 100% will tell you up front that the whole reason why what I'm doing right now, which is through YouTube and iTunes, is all to do and market the brand and to bring people through to the list. That's all I'm doing. And then from there, in the back end, when
you've got the opportunity to do what you like.
Exactly. That's all the focus, because before I even started this, I had the end goal in mind already. I already know where we're going to head and what we're going to do. It's just a matter of now getting through that time period to actually get the right things in place. And once it's done, it will become another system where we've got in place that's going to generate passive income again. I mean, I've done this before many times. That's why I know. Whereas a lot of people who are just starting out, I just ask the question, what's the point of you blogging? What's the point of you doing vlogging and so forth? You need to have an end goal in mind. Is it to actually capture new leads, customers, or are you just doing this for fun? If you're doing it for fun, that's great. You can do whatever you want. But if you're here seriously trying to make a business and make money from it, then you really, really need to have a strategy in place. So,
well, I mean, you've even got, look, I've got a lot of bloggers, for instance, who they might have something on Etsy, Etsy.com or madeit.com. That's the Australian version of Etsy. So in a way, they are business people, but they don't see themselves as business people. They see themselves as work-at-home mums, and they're downplaying the fact that it actually is all about money. They just haven't faced that fact yet. They've got their blog and they blog about their life and they mention they sell stuff on Etsy. And beyond that, they're just sort of plodding along. And it's like, you've got so many opportunities to open more doors here, do a podcast about whatever it is you create on Etsy and things like that. And they just don't actually make that mindset change. I think it was Darren Rouse, pro blogger, who said it wasn't until he made that mindset change that he started to really turn his blogging around and complete different direction. He made his money,
Yeah, I have to admit, it took me a good probably year or so before I actually had that mindset, because I started hitting my head against the wall going, what's happening? Why am I not making money? I'm doing so much work putting all this together. And then it was just that realization that going, okay, it's if you're not going to offer anything, you're not going to make any money. So I just tried it. And then I realized, why was I so scared to actually offer something? People are actually willing to buy from me because I'm providing so much content that it's all for free. And then they realize, wow, they actually want to work with me. So it's actually taking that step of not being afraid to offer something on your website or on your blog or wherever you're doing it, on your podcast, and then seeing if people will buy from me. And if there is a demand in the market, for sure, people will be willing to pay top dollar to get that particular service or product. So that way you can actually benefit from it and they can also benefit from it too. So as long as you make it win-win, it's going to work. You just need to have that opportunity to give to them. Otherwise, if you're just blogging and not talking about these products that I've got and you're not going to make a single cent.
No, I mean, you've probably been on internet marketers lists and every email is buy. And you just, it's annoying really. And then you go on, look, your list actually was probably one of the few that you never asked me to buy anything. Or if you did, I missed that one. Do you know what I mean? A lot of your emails are just about content.
Yeah, my idea behind any type of list or any emails I send out, it's always to give value back to the customer first. That's the most important. Over time, when they actually feel comfortable with me and they get to a certain point, there will be follow-up emails where I do offer products to sell, and that's how I do it. But I guess the ultimate fact at the end of the day is for them to feel comfortable with me first before they do buy. And it's like that with any situation. You go into a retail store, the reason why you might buy something from a person is if you like them and they actually offer you good service and they give you the right information. You'll say, okay, I'll buy it from you because I trust you. Whereas somebody just says, you got to buy this because it's just that. You're not going to buy because you're not interested. It's the same relationship.
Well, that's right. I mean, one of my notes I make in my course is that trust and desire equals sales. And building on that momentum that as a blogger, they already trust you. And if you're selling something they want, which is the desire, then they'll buy it from you. Absolutely. Because it's an evolution. But is there anything else you want to mention before?
Well, if anyone wants to come and check out our YouTube channel, just go to 5minutevideomarketing.com and more than happy to see if I can help them with anything related to video. I will let you know there is, as I said, there is a product or course that's going to be coming out for 5-minute video marketing. I haven't explicitly stated anywhere yet, but just keep an eye on that and I'll probably let you know in probably a few months' time what's happening with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm on your list, so I'll find it anyway. But I guess the 4-minute, 5-minute thing, is that sort of saying, look, we're talking about people making money on the internet, or is that really where you're going? Because I know that a lot of people don't watch videos that go longer for a minute and all that sort of stuff. And
Well, what we found is with conversions, you want to keep it below 2 to 3 minutes or so, at maximum 3 minutes, depending on how good your sales videos are and anything that you want to convert. So the reason behind 5-minute video marketing is we want to make it as simple and as quick and as efficient as possible for you to create videos that will convert and make you sales. That's really the whole goal behind it.